Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another edition of The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something wild happening right now in the digital publishing world. We're talking about how the massive barrier to entry for making comic books is, well, completely evaporating for non-artists. And it's all thanks to some highly specialized AI workflows. We're going to break down a specific tool making serious waves, see exactly how it ticks under the hood, and figure out if it actually lives up to the hype. Let's get right into it. All right, here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with the kids' comic boom, look at the creator's bottleneck, enter the AI chatbot, go over building a comic fast, dive into visuals and multilingual power, and wrap up with the final verdict. So part 1, the kids' comic boom. To really get why any of this matters, we have to grasp the sheer scale of the global comic book market today. Just check out this number, $13.4 billion. That is the valuation of just the kids' comic segment in 2025. And get this, with over 350 million child readers globally, this specific segment is projected to practically double to nearly 27.5 billion by 2034. That is an annual growth rate of over 8%. Parents and teachers are literally hunting for new content. Now, what's incredibly exciting for independent creators is where those sales are actually happening. Digital e-comics make up about 36% of the pie right now, and that slice is growing fast. This is opening up massive passive income opportunities on self-publishing platforms like Amazon KDP and Etsy. People are quietly building serious monthly income streams just by putting out simple, funny kids content. Moving to Section 2, the creator's bottleneck. If this market is booming, why isn't everyone jumping in? Well, there's always been one massive roadblock. Look at the stark contrast here. Historically, to make a comic, you needed years of art school. You had to understand layout, pacing, and you had to master lettering. It was an incredibly high barrier to entry. But looking at the AI-assisted side, it's a totally different ballgame. Essentially, all you need now is a story idea and a specialized prompt generator to orchestrate the rest. Which brings us to Section 3, enter the AI chatbot. Let's look at a tool designed specifically to bridge this gap, a product called Funny Comics for Kids. First off, let's clear up a huge misconception. This isn't some standard software you install on your desktop. It's actually a custom-built ChatGPT system that acts like an editor who literally never sleeps. You see, one of the biggest headaches with AI comics is keeping your characters looking consistent page after page, right? This tool solves that by automatically building what it calls a character Bible. It locks in your character's look, their outfits, and their expressions. So when you generate your panels, your main character doesn't magically change hair color halfway through the story. It does all that heavy lifting for you. All right, Section 4, building a comic fast. Let's see how this thing actually builds a professional workflow practically out of thin air. The system uses a remarkably straightforward 4-step process. First, you just paste in a story idea, even something super simple like Dad tried to fix the fridge and broke everything. Step 2, the bot instantly builds that character Bible we just talked about, along with a full scene-by-scene layout. Step 3, it hands you ready-to-use prompts to plug into an image generator like Midjourney. And finally, Step 4, you compile it and publish. And this perfectly illustrates what that layout step gives you. Notice how it takes a really basic concept, a kid missing a left sock, and breaks it down into a perfectly paced 7 to 8 panel page. It layers in the speech bubbles, the action text, and these great visual gags like the dad dramatically claiming the socks have unionized. The AI completely handles the comedic pacing so the punchlines actually land. Let's move on to Section 5, visuals and multilingual power. The true test of any tool like this is how the final comic actually looks and who can read it. Because the bot generates a dedicated prompt just for the cover page, you get these incredibly vibrant, professional-grade visual hooks. Just look at this chaotic scene with a racing vacuum cleaner. You get fantastic energy, perfect title placement, and distinct character reactions, and you didn't have to pick up a single pencil. And here is a real game changer. The bot auto-detects language. That means you can effortlessly tap into global markets. On the left, we've got the continuation of that vacuum story, completely generated in German. And on the right, a Spanish-language comic about a dad accidentally shrieking the living room sofa. The system automatically adjusts the dialogue and the structural prompts to match whatever language you paste in. It absolutely nails everyday relatable humor too. Here's an English story about a literal morning war against a demonic alarm clock. Again, The generated structure perfectly times those visual gags across the panels. It perfectly captures that exaggerated panic of waking up at 6 a.m., moving from the scary glowing clock to this hilarious, dramatic stare down. I mean, we've all been there, right? Actually, despite the name Funny Comics for Kids, the core prompts are flexible enough to tackle completely different genres. It handles things like this emotional anime-style slice-of-life sequence about overthinking a simple "see you tomorrow" with ease. Notice how the character Bible ensures those subtle emotional shifts remain totally consistent. All right, bringing us to section 6, the final verdict. Let's zoom out and do a completely objective breakdown of this tool's actual value. The major advantages here are pretty undeniable. It completely removes the artistic bottleneck. It supports global languages right out of the box. And honestly, it even throws in 50 pre-written bonus stories, meaning you can start generating on day one without having to brainstorm a thing. Plus, the output is ready for KDP and Etsy, all for a low, one-time price point. But let's keep it real and look at the limitations. The biggest catch? This tool does not generate the final art for you. You still have to take these prompts and use a separate AI image generator, like Midjourney, to get your final images. You also need to be somewhat comfortable navigating ChatGPT. Plus, as reviewers have pointed out, it carries a strict 14-day refund policy, so you need to be sure you actually want to put in the assembly work. So, who is this actually for? If you're a digital publisher, an Etsy seller, or a parent who lacks art skills, this is a highly practical workflow hack. But it is absolutely not a magic button for people who want zero involvement or anyone expecting an app that spits out a finished, bound comic in one single click. You are the director here. The AI is your crew. The digital publishing landscape is shifting so fast, and the tools to jump in have never been more accessible. So as we wrap up this explainer, I'll leave you with this to chew on. If overcoming the drawing barrier was the only thing holding you back, is AI the final key you need to unlock your own digital publishing empire? Thanks so much for joining me, and keep learning.